Okay.
What are you guys doing for New Year's?
Going to early dinner at Piccolino's.
Oh yeah, is that a reservation type of thing or a New Year's
Yeah,
thing?
they got you can order off the regular menu, and then they got like a 5-course thing that's $68 a piece. So I think we're going to do that. Where you just get a really nice 5-course meal, includes dessert, and then they got a special which will save a lot of money. Really, when you think about it, you bring your own bottle of wine, and it's 25 cents corkage fee.
Really?
Yeah, so you can drink a because you spend a lot of money is on booze, right?
Well, yeah, it's not uncommon. You take booze into these restaurants. It's like a $15-$20 corkage fee.
Yeah. So you spend $136 or $130, $40, and you get a really nice.
Cents.
Yeah, 25 cents. If you have a second bottle, it's $25 for the corkage fee, but they give you the first one for 25 cents.
Oh.
So I've got great bottles of wine here, so I'm just going to bring one, and maybe have a couple glasses at home to start before I get there. It's right up the street, and then that's I'm going to miss that when I move, because it's great. It's a great place, and it's got great reviews, and it's close, and so we'll go up there. We got 6 o'clock reservations. So, hang out there for an hour and a half, 2 hours, and come home. Be home by 8 o'clock. Watch an early movie. Go to bed.
Yeah.
I never stay up for midnight.
All you have to do is just watch Australia or
New York,
Coast, and then and then you're done by 9 o'clock.
And I never even end up doing that, Rick. I mean, I never get to the point where I, frankly, can stay up that late anymore. I mean, I just...
that's funny.
I mean, it's... no, I've noticed a lot of changes in my body over the last 6 months, and candidly, it's kind of scary until you get it all, until you make sure until you understand that you got to keep reminding yourself that there's nothing you can do about it, because it does get, I mean, it does, it really does. There's some real changes. I mean, I can feel my hair thinning. I pee like a fucking old man. I'm always on the fucking toilet peeing, I mean, it's like, I guess I ought to be happy it's still coming out,
Yeah.
But
right.
there's all kinds of shit, that I mean, God, if I drink one glass of milk, which I love milk, I mean, I'm farting for 2 weeks, man.
Oh, really?
I've got that lactose intolerance, man. Oh,
jeez.
The only good news is that they're not smelly farts, but me and you're walking around like, making noise all week, and that never used to happen, but it's, it's fucked up. And I can't drink that lactose free shit.
No, it's just not the same.
So, when I want to have a glass of milk, I got to make sure I have no appointments for a week. My poor wife suffers though, All right. So anyway.
All right.
So let's ready. I'm all ready. Yeah. Just tell me when.
All right. Yep. 3, 2.
Good morning, everybody. This is Bill Bernard. I am one of your hosts for the Bottle Business Sense Show. We're here every Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. And we're back for another show this bright Tuesday morning. I'm here with my co-host, Rick Moscoso, of course, as I am every week. And we try to bring you the best and most concise reporting or news in business protection and business marketing that we can possibly do. We do it for free. We love it. We are all over Facebook. We're all over LinkedIn. We're all over Twitter. We're all over our own websites. You can find us just anywhere by Googling Rick Moscoso or Bill Bernard, and you'll find everything that we do. We're on YouTube, you name it. So we're here today to talk about a marketing issue, an interesting one, because I know and we're going to do another show, by the way, on this as well. We're going to do eventually, we're going to do a show about fake news on Facebook and how it's so prevalent nowadays. But we're going to do something a little different than that for this show, and it involves Facebook. And I want to bring Rick on to talk about that and exactly what he's got planned today. Morning, Rick. How you doing, bud?
Hey, I'm doing great, Phil. Thanks for the intro.
Yeah, what's this show all about this morning? Let's tell everybody what we got.
Yeah, well, a lot of people, it's kind of an enigma, right? People don't really know how to do this, but we're going to talk a little bit about Facebook advertising, some of the general insights that you should look after once you dive into this, and also how to use Facebook Live. I think this goes hand in hand, and Facebook Live in itself is an interesting thing that we'll talk about in the back half of the show. But let's start with Facebook advertising. Just like any big company, Facebook being one of them, they acquire all these different companies that can do a multitude of things for them. And one of the things that Facebook did a while ago is they started gobbling up all these analytic companies. So to help them serve up better audiences to their viewers. So if you're using Facebook in your business for advertising or creating a following, or maybe it's a Facebook user group or something like that, they want to provide you with the best audience possible that's relevant to your industry. So what Facebook has done is they actually can track any activity that you do inside of Facebook, and that's user based, where the traffic came from, who exited to, and so there's about there's anywhere between 1,000 and 1,500 touch points or analytics that it can pull out of all this data just from the traffic moving in side of Facebook, coming into Facebook, and moving out of Facebook. So
and then of course you can use your own Facebook business page too, right, Rick?
Yeah. So it measures all this stuff and tells you, okay, who is your target, who is not so much your target audience. Of course, it'll serve that up, but who is your preferred audience? It gives you a lot of insights so you can market better to a very specific audience, or as specific as you want to be. So we're not just, using a shotgun approach to our advertising and hoping something that sticks.
Well, hold on now. Let me clarify something before you get into the more of the basics here. Are you saying that Facebook will give you statistical information that will determine your target audience, or do you pick your target audience and then wait for Facebook to provide you with the analytics?
Yeah, your second statement is more accurate. So when you go in to create a Facebook ad, the first thing it's going to ask you is there's going to be a whole host of demographic checkboxes or radio buttons that you can select. So do you want to market just to males or females? Do you want to market to other business owners? Do you want to market to, like let's take your business, for example. So you want to advertise to a legal audience, maybe somebody who is just is looking for a trust here in Southern California, maybe just in a specific city versus the entire Orange County area. You can be as specific as you want, and then it'll go out there and mine data that's already within Facebook, and then serve up analytics based on those parameters that you set. So I'm just pulling numbers out, but let's say you wanted to target people that have either express some kind of interest.
Let's say I want to target people that have assets of over $150,000, or something like that, and that I want to target people, say, between the ages of 25 and 45. Let's just say that I can actually set that up in Facebook and then pay to have an advertisement go out to that specific target.
Yeah, exactly. So once you set up these parameters, what will come back from Facebook is, here's how big your target audience is. It could be, 1,000 people, it could be 10,000, could be 100,000, based on the geographic area that you've defined.
Right.
And then you can create an ad based on product or service that you're selling and market it to that database that you've set parameters for. All right.
Right. Right.
So it's very intuitive. It can be very specific. Money if you set the parameters correctly based on the service or product that you're selling.
And what do you mean, Rick, when you say it can save you a lot of money? How does it save you a lot of money?
Well, because you're advertising now to a very laser sharp target audience.
Okay.
So you're not just putting an ad out on, let's say I can't even think of the publication now, but let's say you put an ad in the newspaper. You're just hoping that somebody might run into it, and it could be a beautician. It could be somebody else that's totally unrelated to who you really want to try and attract. Because of the parameters that you set up on Facebook, now you're more likely to get interaction with them or more interested buyers or viewers, because now they've expressed somewhere along the line, they've expressed interest in the product or service that you are offering. And now you're serving up an ad to those very specific laser pointed viewers.
So it has nothing to do with the circulation of the newspaper and the availability of news or information on the internet. It has to do with a target audience, because you're never going to get, for example, in your situation that you just talked about, you're never going to get a newspaper to send out your ad to only certain people that you've chosen. You're going to, that's impossible. So you're going to be able to do it on Facebook in a way that is more apropos to what you're trying to do. Now, does this mean that, how does this tie in to deciding whether to select a business page? Would a business page be more apropos for an advertisement like this than just a general Facebook page with your own name on it? Or is that just going to, I assume that's just going to depend on what the nature of your business is, right?
Yeah, it really does depend on the nature of your business. If you're, professional services like we are, then obviously you want a dedicated Facebook page, a business page that will not only attract viewers, but build a community around your page.
Right.
You probably want to do something like that. Now, here's the beauty of creating a Facebook ad. You can now create, and this has been within Facebook over the last year, you can create very unique ad sets. Okay, so what's an ad set? Well, let's say you determined a target audience already. I'm going to use this example that I was reading. So let's say that you're a retailer and you sell kitchen supplies, okay? And you have a stainless steel mixing bowl that you're trying to market to two different groups. One is to the professional chefs, okay? And then another target audience could be to the stay-at-home moms who love to cook and bake and that sort of thing. Well, these are two very distinct separate ads that you would create for these two totally different target audiences. Although they're within, they both use your kitchen supply. The way you create your ads is going to be totally different between these two.
Two different ads for the same exact product,
within the same larger community, but targeted to these two separate groups. So you can really get super specific who you're advertising to based on the data sets that you get served up when you're creating this ad. So that's really the beauty of it. And then not only that, you can see the insights and see how effective your ads are to these specific target markets within your target market, right?
And how do you do that, Rick?
Well, it's within setting within setting the ad parameters. There's a capability in there that allows you to create ad sets. So
Facebook, then if you're saying Facebook is going to give you a report each week or each month or whenever it is, right, that tells you how effective the ad was for that particular demographic.
Yeah, that's correct. But in setting up the ad itself, you can immediately create an ad set to, in this case, professional chefs, or another separate ad set to stay-at-home moms who love to cook, and run these ads simultaneously. And in almost real time, you can watch the efficacy of those ads that you've created.
And how does this compare, Rick? How does the cost compare for doing something like this to other forms of advertisement?
Yeah, so the way Facebook advertising I can tell you how it used to work. Okay, it used to work where it would offer you the choice of, let me pay for results in the form of pay-per-click, right? So let's say
Right.
based on how specific your ad that you set up is, the more specific, the more laser specific it is, the more expensive it's going to be.
Right.
And so only when the ad is actually clicked on would you have to pay for that marketing advertisement. Now what they're doing is something called optimized advertising, where they serve up, again, to your target market, they serve up X amount of impressions, right? And that again is based on the budget that you set. And typically, you know, I mean, depending upon how aggressive you want to be in your advertising, you could set a budget of $5 per day, $10 per week, or something like that, and just kind of let it run over time.
But do you still get, if you use the budgetary method, do you still get a report showing how many people clicked on it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So what happens is in this optimized environment, the way Facebook is set up now, let's say you have a database of, or you have a target audience of 1,000 or 10,000 people. What it'll do is it'll set up the ad, and then based on your budget again, let's say your budget allows you for 1,000 impressions per day, because that's what you budgeted for.
Mm-hmm.
It would send out 1,000 impressions and serve it up to your target audience 1,000 times in front of those viewers. So when you're in the Facebook page, whether your personal page or your business page, as a viewer, doesn't matter, because it shows up in a certain column where you see that ad that you created to that target audience, and it serves it up based on your budget. But in this example, it would serve it up 1,000 times to your target audience. And then, you know, based on the imagery that you have in your ad, and that's very important because people are more apt to click on an interesting picture or an applicable picture or something like that versus just straight text.
Yeah.
That's a consideration that you need to have when you're creating the ad. So it's much more cost effective because you can hit a lot more people with this type of optimized ad creation. You can look at the insights or analytics and look at the performance on a daily basis, weekly basis, or however long you're running your advertising campaign. See how many people are actually clicking through. And that's the other thing. So when you set up these ads, you can determine what's the call to action that you want them to do. Do you just want them to like your Facebook page? Do you want them to call you? Do you want them to jump to your website? Although Facebook really recommends that you don't take them out of Facebook, because then you lose the ability to track them. But if you do take them out of Facebook, you take them into a landing page, right, where then you can continue to track them on your landing page, because it would obviously, you know, you want to require them to opt in for more information,
right?
You know, so your marketing chain continues down the stream, and you still have a trail of where they're going.
Well, that's interesting.
Right.
So they could click on the Facebook ad and then be taken to a landing page. But in order to track it from the landing page or the website page, you need to get them to sign in or opt in, right?
Yeah, you opt in, and then you can use an email platform like Aweber or MailChimp or whatever the system is that you're using. So you always want to track them somehow. So it's pretty. It sounds daunting, but it's really not. The way it's set up when you go into Facebook and create an ad, it steps you through everything. It makes it very, very simple. In helping you create your target audience.
Well, I think this has been extremely interesting. I wanted to ask you real quick, without you having to get into too lengthy of a statement about it. Do other platforms like LinkedIn, for example, have this advertisement capability?
They do. I'm not as familiar with that, but I know they do. They don't have the reach of
Facebook.
That Facebook does. And I'm not exactly sure on the analytics how deep they go. What are the metrics, or how do they analyze each user in LinkedIn?
Yeah,
I don't think it's to the same extent as Facebook is.
Well, there's another important point here that I'm hoping people picked up on, and that is that Facebook has typically been a genuine, authentic, 100% social media kind of a site. And what I mean by that is, well, look, I'm at my favorite restaurant having a burrito. I'm over here down the street at the dentist's office. I'm visiting Joe Blow at his tire store. You know, I've never gotten into that or really understood the nature of the beast there, where people just have that good of a time, or even have the time of day to be able to post stuff like that. I'm not going to criticize people for that. I just find it somewhat unusual. But I guess that's what the site was for, to really originally set up people who are into that kind of stuff. I use Facebook totally for business. You'll never see a post from me where I'm at a restaurant or I'm at a, you know, out and about doing stuff. It's typically all business on my general Facebook page and on my business page. So this is some insight that Rick has given you on how to adapt this major reach site, you know, this site that was designed for total social interaction of any nature. Now you can adapt it to business, and hopefully you can hit the right audience out of all those multitudes of people that are interested in business just like you, right?
Yeah, and I'll leave you with this, because I touched on Facebook Live, and this is another great advertising tool that you can start to use as a business owner. Now with the explosion of video, right, on short form video on the web, on Facebook, and anything like that, people love to interact with you when you're spur of the moment type of videotaping. Okay,
right. Sure.
So Facebook came out with this great tool called Facebook Live. You're in the moment. You are live. It's very informal. It's kind of raw because it's not a professional video. And I do this a lot of times with clients when I'm out at a meeting and they have something to promote. I'll do a quick Facebook Live session where you just use your iPhone and you go into your website and you hit, instead of hitting video, you hit live, and now you title it, and now you're in a Facebook Live session. So you can talk in front of your phone with the client next to you, preview them real quick, have them interact. And while all this is going on, people in your news feed will see that you're live. You'll get a notification across the top that say, "Hey, Rick Moscoso's live." And if they're interested, they can click on that button and go immediately to the live feed and comment or hit the emojis, the heart emojis or like emojis, and you'll see these little things float across the screen. And so you can be very, very interactive. You can, while you're there with the client, you're live. You're seeing this happen a lot more and more. Sports event or a business event. It's a great way to promote things. It's spur of the moment, and I like doing it because I like video and I like putting my clients on the spot.
Right.
And so it's
perfect for your business, Rick. But I would caution other people to be very careful if you're in a profession that, like mine, that would require attorney-client privilege. Number one, you're not going to be advertising what you're discussing with your client on social media. And number two, no matter what business you're in, even Rick's business, make sure you get the client's permission. Don't just hit the button and go live, and then this guy finds himself all over Facebook the next day and is a little ticked off. Make sure you get the client's okay before you do it. Say, we're going to have this discussion. I'd like to go Facebook Live. Would you have any problems, any objections? If it was me, of course, as paranoid as I always am, I would get him to sign a document. But you go as far, I'd get him to sign a little release that I would have written up. But I don't do this anyway. I don't need a release because my discussions with clients are privileged. So you have to be cautious about that as well in order to use this marketing tool effectively.
Yeah.
But I think it's great, Rick. I think it's.
Yeah, just be mindful of the situation that you're using it for. And like Bill said, in his case, he probably wouldn't use this, especially with a client type of meeting. But there's certainly other businesses that can capitalize on this tool. Of seeing behind the scenes stuff with Facebook Live, and it's just another way to interact and with your viewership out there, and create some credibility as an expert in your field, right? So
remember you're dealing with people, and you never know what you're going to get. when you're dealing with people. So you always ask their permission. That's what I would say.
That's
This has
right.
been great, Rick. I don't know that we touch upon this enough, but it's interesting. I think we're going to start doing some shows that have to do with specific marketing for different social media areas. And I think we're going to eventually touch upon this fake news issue, which both Rick and I will be able to talk about a little bit. So I hope this has been enjoyable for everybody. Until next week, then, Mr. Moscoso, I guess we will see our audience bright and early on Tuesday morning. We wish everybody a very productive and prosperous week. And we'll see you same time, same place. We are going bi-weekly now. We may come back as time allots to more frequent shows, but because of our schedule and thank goodness, the prosperity of our businesses, we are providing 2 shows a month now. So, but you can always go back in our library and take the opportunity to listen to stuff there, right, Rick?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a whole wealth of information and experience at your fingertips. So, we welcome you to take advantage of it. So anyway, so we look forward to seeing you next week. If you have any questions in regards to this topic, you can contact me at the information below. Look forward to helping you with your Facebook campaigns as you go out there. And if you have any questions, just feel free to reach out to us with your questions.
Okay. Thanks again, everybody, and have a great week. Bye-bye now.
All right. Bye-bye, everyone.
All right.